Today, we are talking all about LinkedIn messaging, how to be more authentic and get more out of your LinkedIn marketing. We have a special guest to talk to you today. She is Mandy McEwen. Mandy is the founder and CEO of Mod Girl Marketing and Luminetics. So I can't tell you how many people have found me because I have the word podcast in my LinkedIn profile. And it's definitely someone's targeted keyword for spamming. And what I want to know is, let's say I am someone's ideal target. What's the right way to approach the person after you've found the right keyword?
Great question. Yeah. So we're going to assume that everyone has their profile optimized and it's amazing and it's super crystal clear and you have, your featured media and your social proof scattered throughout and it's, value-based. This is who I help. This is how we help them. Right. So let's just say that step's done. You want to build a list of people on LinkedIn, typing in keywords, right, that you're talking about, and then you want to start engaging with them. So this is the key that most people miss. The key step that most people are lazy and they want, quick results fast, for one. So that's why. And two, people just don't think about this. So you want to go and look at what are they doing on LinkedIn. So if you are my target, Brandon, and I am stalking a bunch of, podcasters, then I would go and I would look to see what you're posting on LinkedIn and I would engage with you. I would start liking your stuff. I would start leaving comments. If you're leaving comments on other people's posts, let's say you're not posting a lot on LinkedIn, but you're leaving comments, then I would go and I would like your comments and I would respond to your comments. And then I would wait a few days, maybe, depending on how excited I am to connect with you. And the key is wait 3 to 5 days typically, so to give people time to see your engagement. And then you send a custom connection request and you mention whatever it is that you engaged with. So, hey, Brandon, I loved your recent podcast episode on LinkedIn with Mandy McEwen. I learned so much. I would love to connect with you here. That's it. So would you accept my connection request, provided, let's say I'm not Mandy McEwen, let's say I'm just some rando, and I sent you that. Would you be more inclined to accept that?
Yeah, because you'd be the one person that commented.
Exactly.
That no one's doing. I probably post content every day and I get comments, but the people that are in my inbox that are trying to connect with me, not one of those people aligns with the comments. They're completely different people. So it would
and it's so simple. Yeah, I mean, it's so simple. I get that all the time. That's so funny you mentioned that. You'd be the only one. Do you know how many times that I've got messages that are wow, you're the real MVP. You're the first person in the last 3,000, requests that have actually looked at my profile. And I'm this is so sad. This is why it's my mission to you guys, quit being lazy. This is so simple. It's simple stuff here. But and it's not simple for people who don't do this. It's simple for me because I do it every day. I understand that. But when we take it, strip everything out of this, we are just human beings trying to build relationships. Think of us in person. We met in person, right, Brandon? I would never just come up to you and be so here's what I do. Here's a laundry list and just start spilling out. Do you have anyone that you want to buy from me? Right? It's not how it works in the real world. You get to know the person, you know what I mean? So whenever you can apply flattery also to your outreach tactics, you have a really good shot at getting someone to accept your connection request, right?
Yeah.
So toot someone's horn, boost their ego. Not to mention, when you engage with people, you're helping them. So it's helping the algorithm to show your posts more, Brandon, when people are engaging and leaving comments. And so not only are you going to be wow, this person actually looked at my profile and they sent me a message that's customized, but they're helping me. They're helping me get more visibility in LinkedIn because they're engaging with my content. So 9 times out of 10, unless they're a complete weirdo, you're going to accept the connection request,
Yeah. I mean, to use that personal example, it would, for what happens to me all the time is if I acted out in real life, it would be hey, Brandon, they shake my hand. Nice to meet you. Can I give you my free thing? It would be right after they shook my hand, because even if I take a flyer on some of these people, because they're a little bit vague in their intro and they could have been better, but I said, why not? I'll test them. I'll say, sure, I'll approve it. And then within a week or within a day, usually, the second message is my filter, because the second message, if they were patient enough to wait through the first message, the second one has a URL every time. It's like clockwork.
Yeah.
Cool. Thanks for connecting. I just want to send you my free thing and sign you up to and it's always that step 2. And I'm okay, yeah, you proved me right about you.
Yes, you 100%. And that's I have so many don'ts, and that is oh, that's my one. Do not send a link Don't ask to get on a call and don't send a link, period. Until you're having a conversation with people and then you can tell they want to get on a call, or maybe they ask for the call, or if they ask, or I mean, you can always, once you have a conversation, be like, hey, we actually just released this XYZ. You might find it helpful. Would you? Question mark. Do you want the link? Question mark. Like, you can still give people things, but ask their permission before you do it. And it certainly should not be on the second message, like, again, this is just lazy, sales tactic 101. I'm just going to blast the hell out of as many people as I can. It's a numbers game and we'll see who bites. I mean, that's what the majority of people are doing on LinkedIn, which is why it's not working and why people are jaded and think that it's full of spammers, So when you stand out and do things, what I'm telling you to do, like when you do it the right way, you're going to get results, because unfortunately, most people aren't doing it that way.
Yeah. And I've even had they'll ask questions, but there's no context, there's no background. I'm like, why am I going to answer these questions? It's like, hey, Brandon, how's your day?
Yeah, it's so weird, right?
What you've been up to? I'm like, I don't know you. Why are you asking me these questions?
Yes. Or this is my favorite. So tell me about your business. Oh. I'm like, dude, did you even look at my profile? It's pretty freaking clear, like, what my business is. Yeah. I'm like, oh God, I get that all the time too. I'm like, what, really? Like, is that your best line? Damn, man, I'd hate to see you on dates, because geez, if that's all you got.
Exactly. I think if any of these like marketing, in the marketing world, if you just brought it back to what you would be like if you acted like that as a human, and it's a problem, it's probably a problem in marketing too.
100%.
So
yeah,
I want people to be equipped, and we're talking a lot about messaging, but I want people to be equipped with like what the second thing to say is. And for me, there's like, I do want to know a little bit about the person that connected, that I said yes to, or whatever it is. But that might be enough to start, or even ask me a question that's not personal, but it's like, you read something,
Totally. Yeah. And it all depends on, what you're trying to do and the person. So if you have an interesting person that's posting, stuff on LinkedIn, and maybe they've been posting some random personal stuff, like, you can easily start dialogue and start asking questions and just start random conversations all day long with those people, right?
Yeah.
Because they're just out there posting content, and that's obviously, part of what they're doing. People that aren't, posting as much, and maybe it's not as easy to like strike up conversations with, like, that's when I like, saying, thanks for connecting. If there's anything to help you with, let me know. By the way, this is what we do at my company. If you, or anyone would be a good fit, please let me know, right? And you can even keep it as simple as that, and then you can send it. Or you can, weave in a question that is specific to what you do, right? So you can still like lightweight mention what you do without pitching and being annoying, which is what I train salespeople to do, right? So I'm not saying that you have to completely avoid any mention of what it is that your company does. Like, you don't have to do that. You just have to be more strategic about it, but you can easily ask. So I'm going to give you an example, Brandon. So what we do at Mod Girl, or in Luminetics, my LinkedIn agency, is we train sales teams on how to, effectively use LinkedIn to land more meetings, and LinkedIn and email. So part of one of my tactics on LinkedIn is to email SVPs of sales, or VPs of sales, director of sales, and call out a few of their SDR profiles that are crappy. And so I say, after they accept my connection request, I'm like, thanks so much. By the way, I was looking at some of your team's LinkedIn profiles, and then I'll list, a couple of names. And I noticed they're not optimized at all. And I was like, and then I say something like, I'm not sure if LinkedIn is a big part of their prospecting strategy right now, question mark. And then I'll just send it like that, So it's like pretty obvious what I'm doing. And I get responses. I actually just got a response from a VP of sales, and he sent a video of one of the guys I called out. And the guy is like, hey, Mandy, this is Dan. I don't appreciate you calling me out in front of my boss. But it was funny, right? He was kind of giggling about it. And he's like, I am well aware that my profile needs some work. Thanks. And so we got a kick out of it, me and my team. And I ended up messaging him, and we were laughing about it, the actual SDR. And he's like, I actually want to thank you, because you inspired me to actually go and optimize my profile, because I was kind of embarrassed after you said that, So that's just one example of how you can be pretty direct with your LinkedIn messaging and still, come from a place of value without being annoying or spammy. So you can kind of get creative here on being direct. And I love asking questions. Like, that's my thing. So if I can find a relevant question that, again, isn't weird, like what you were talking about, like, how's your day? Or tell me about your business, like, we don't want to do that. But if you can find a relevant question, this is, of course, after you've already mentioned something custom about them or their profile. So everything I'm sharing right now with you guys, this is after I have already engaged with them and mentioned something about their company, something about their content, something about the profile. So everything is personalized up until this point when I start asking more strategic questions about their business. And so you really just, you'll get better too with practice. I mean, like anything, but you need to get in this habit of, how can I start meaningful dialogue with people, meaningful conversations that go somewhere and still let people in on, this is what I do and how I can help. And so it really depends on your industry though. Like obviously it's a lot easier for me to sit here and tell you guys this because I'm the LinkedIn girl, right? Like this is what I do for a living. I train people on LinkedIn. So it's easy for me to go and call out people's crappy LinkedIn marketing and profiles on LinkedIn. Like that's kind of really a really simple example. So I understand that not everyone has that, luxury of being that direct and simple with what I'm talking about here, but you can get creative. So just think about like, what questions do you ask your prospects when you're on the phone with them, So there's all sorts of ways to get creative when it comes to starting meaningful dialogue with people.
Well, and I think we've at least got them motivated to think about the messages they're sending in the connection request. I still fear that people aren't going to take the time to engage with the profile, leave a meaningful comment, and start to interact with people that they want to be in the purview of. How do we motivate them to actually do that? I mean, obviously it's to their best interest, but maybe there's an easy way to like do this, because it's intimidating.
Easy way to do this.
Well, I'm imagining like
there's no
me going to 10 people. And, yeah, there's no easy way to do it. Me going to 10 people and leaving comments on all of their profiles sounds like quite a job.
It isn't though, man. It really doesn't take that long. And so when I'm talking about meaningful comments too, I'm not talking about like, great post, Brandon, like you need to leave a little bit of, extra effort in this, if you will. So, at least 5 words, at least a few lines, a couple of lines, and make it meaningful. But here's some motivation for everyone listening. We had a client that is an amazing, commenter and takes what we teach her and runs with it. And this was last year. And she left a comment on an influencer's post. And within a few hours, she had 400 connection requests from her target market. Okay. Within hours. So not only is commenting amazing for you getting in front of people because you're engaging with them, but I haven't even talked about all the other indirect benefits like exposure, using those comments to boost your personal brand and your thought leadership, using those comments as your own posts. I do this all the time. I'll leave an amazing comment and I'll be like, damn, Mandy, that was good. Okay, I'm going to make a post out of that, right? So a week later, I take that comment and I make a post out of it. There are so many benefits of leaving comments that people just don't realize, and it is so highly underutilized, but so powerful, because you leave a comment, all your following is going to see that comment. Plus, the people that are following people you commented on are going to see that comment. Plus, if anyone else engages with that comment, then their people are going to see it. So it gets you in front of a wider audience rather quickly, not to mention it helps you with your main goal of, starting conversations that are meaningful with people. So there's no easy way around it though. Like you just have to do it. So 5 comments a day, Brandon, is really what we're telling people to do and like what works well. So if you could just leave 5 meaningful comments a day, you're going to see some incredible results, because again, especially if you're not doing anything, right? If you're not engaging at all, you're hardly even scratching the surface with LinkedIn, and you start doing that, you're going to be amazed at what can happen. And so I'm not just talking about prospects. I'm talking about people you're following, industry, micro influencers. I'm not saying like you can leave comments on Gary Vee if you want, but like be strategic here. Like if you leave comments on massive influencers, that's not really going to help you much, right? So be really strategic about the types of industry, thought leaders that you're leaving comments on, because everything you need to do needs to be for your target audience. So people get in this habit too. They're like, this is salespeople, especially because I work with a lot of salespeople, a lot of sales teams. I was just on a training yesterday actually, and they're like, where'd you get your sales memes? I want sales memes, blah, blah. And I'm like, okay, but you guys shouldn't be posting about sales though. Like that's not what we're trying to do here. Like we're not if you're targeting salespeople, sure, you could talk about sales, but you guys are salespeople in technology targeting the C-suite. You know what I mean? Like CISOs, like what? No, we're not trying to, like get more salespeople. So like you also have to be strategic here about like what you're commenting on and what you're posting. So just because like I'm a marketer, me leaving, and I have loads of marketing people, the majority actually of my target audience is marketers, because I had courses and masterminds and groups for marketers for years. And so that's my audience, a large part of my audience, but I'm not talking to marketers. Like I'm not posting content that's going to help marketers, right? I have a lot of marketers in my audience, but that's not who I'm selling to right now. So people get in the habit of leaving comments on, people that are just like them. It's okay to do that. I'm not saying don't do that. I love supporting my peeps. I'll do that all day long, but that's not all I'm doing. Like, I'm strategic. I'm mixing it up, right? So I'll support my marketer peeps, my friends, but I'm also going to be even more, diligent about leaving comments that are for my target audience, posting for my target audience. So I just want to call that out too, because this is a mistake that people make, because it's easy for us. We are in this. So it's easy for us marketers or us salespeople to talk about sales, to talk about marketing, because that's our jam. But our target audience doesn't care. They don't give a crap about what we, what I mean? They care about them. Like, what do they care about? How are you going to help solve their problems? How are you going to help solve their pain points? That's all they care about. So you have to focus on that. And that has to be at the forefront of your mind always when your LinkedIn initiatives. Otherwise, you're going to fall flat and you're going to be ticked off and be like, dang it, Mandy, you told me to do this and it's not working.
Yeah. Well, it seems like it's more obvious to people that, like, if I go to a Facebook group and I post something in the group, which is spam most of the time, if I post something in the group because it's a group and it's called a group and it says there's 500 people in it, it's obvious to them, like, oh, this is a stage and I can be seen here, if, potentially. It's not as obvious to them on a LinkedIn post, but it might be more effective, because at the end of the day, if, like, say 50 people commented on this post and they're commenting as well, all of those 50 people are being notified that this person commented. And to your point, all these other shares that are happening across their profile and other profiles, I think that's just because of the framing of it, people still aren't taking advantage of it, but that makes it the opportunity.
Yeah, that's why there is such a big opportunity with LinkedIn. That's why I'm so passionate about it, is because people and organizations have barely scratched the surface here. I mean, there's still so much potential here because most people aren't doing these things we're talking about, which leaves a world of opportunity for those of you listening who, you see the potential of LinkedIn and you actually do it right. You're going to see results. It's just a matter of being consistent, like anything. You got to do the work, you got to put in the work, but you can do this in 30 minutes a day, really, or less than that. Hell, you could do it in 10 minutes a day if you want to start small. Like, it doesn't require as much energy as like we are sitting here talking about. And once you get into it, obviously, like, if you're brand new to this, like anything, it's going to take a little bit of a learning curve, but it's worth it. If you're consistent, you time block it, you put it on your calendar, and you do the things that are needed, you're going to see results.
That's all we got for you guys today. Appreciate you, and we'll catch you next time.
Brands on Brands.